Have you talked to ETs, connected with angels, visited the 22nd dimension, or accessed your superpowers? This is Robert Manni, host of Guys Radio. And this week, my special guest is Sarah R. Adams, multidimensional guide and healer. It all begins on KCAA Radio, Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 102.3, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. The podcast and my YouTube drop Thursday. Guys Radio. Thanks for your support. Very, very special guest, and many different ways you could describe her, but I'll describe her from my own personal experience. Her name is Sarah R. Adams. She's a wonderful, beautiful human being in consciousness and in reality, as you can see. She's a very lovely person, and also she's very special. I saw her on Beyond Belief on Gaia a few years ago with George Norrie, and I was like, I have to interview this person because she is different and she has something to share with us. And since then, we've talked a few times. I did a session, and so did my wife, did a session with Sarah, and we really got a lot out of it. And I've been following her on Facebook, and I'm seeing her brand grow and grow and grow. And she's really here to help humanity. And she's an intuitive healer. And what else does she do? She's experienced so much. And she doesn't label herself, which I think is fantastic, but she's seen abductions, to seeing angels who've aided her. Her awakened consciousness has increased as she's aged, and she's experienced the supernatural past lives in Egypt and Atlantis, telepathy, weather abnormalities, feeling others' emotions and empathy, remote viewing, something that I'm actually studying right now, quantum leaping, time travel, and other alternate realities that Sarah has endured. She works with clients around the world in an intuitive healing practice, and this includes homeopathy, herbs, supplements, diets, superfoods, detoxing, energy work. She's done some work with me, and it really was fantastic. Essential oils, visualization, meditation, subtle energy work, cellular work. She's been on Gaia, Beyond Belief, as I mentioned, Buzzsaw with Sean Stone, Vice TV, and she's going to be on a whole bunch of shows on Gaia coming up, and Ancient Civilizations, and George Norrie again a few times, and maybe Regina Meredith. So she's just everywhere, and if you follow her on Facebook or Instagram, she's got really incredible content, and she's courageous. So thank you, Sarah R. Adams, for being my special guest and coming back to Guys Radio. It's wonderful to see you.
Thanks for having me on, and this is going to be a great interview because I have a lot of information to talk about that I've kind of been keeping in because, like I said, I stopped doing interviews. We filmed Ancient Civilizations, we filmed Beyond Belief, and then I was like, time out, going to go and do all this work, and then I'll come back, and here I am.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I've been following you on Facebook for years, and as you know, I'm always liking what you have to say because you're sharing content that's very pure. It's about the consciousness challenges we have on Earth with energy and a lot of entities really creating havoc, and it's a very special time for people to do their best. The everyday person, the guys that are out there, to raise your frequency, and everybody is a hero that way, and we can all help. But just for context for our listeners, Sarah, could you tell us a little bit about what happened? When did you realize that? Was there a specific experience that happened that you learned that your awakening consciousness and your gifts were apparent and accelerating? Because I know you had a tough childhood.
I did have a tough childhood, and I believe that I came into this body to experience certain things so that I could use the power within myself to overcome them, and to teach people that no matter what you've suffered as a child or what you've suffered in life, what trauma that you've been through, we can still heal, and we can grow and bloom after all of that and become whole again. It's something that I worked deeply on within myself. I'm very passionate about it because there's a lot of suffering people around the world. And, this morning when I got up, I just had this whole download that a lot of people are disembodied. So when the physical self has any trauma and experiences any trauma, the soul can't fully the body and merge into the body. So it's kind of, I see a lot of people's souls, they're the physical body and the soul's near them. Or, if they're really ill, the soul's further out from them. So there's kind of this cord, and the soul is further off from them. So I was told this morning a lot of the people on this planet are disembodied. And so for me, my mission to Earth was to come in and completely embody my soul and become one with my soul. And in the Bible, there's a verse that said, the two shall become one. Everybody thinks this is about a man and a woman becoming one. This is not about that. This is about the soul and the body becoming one. God becoming one in our 3D world with our 3D physical bodies. So we're joining the realm of the spirits of God with the 3D physical world. And this is the illumination, the enlightenment that's going to happen in the future for humanity. So yes, to go back to the question, if I knew, I have memories of living on Mars, on Venus, on different planets, traveling to Saturn. So yes, I knew that I was coming into this body, and at a certain point as a child, I was highly aware of my abilities. I was speaking to angels, I was speaking to ETs, I would be in their ships. So there was a lot of things happening to me as I grew older too. I fully embraced my mission on this planet, of which one point I said, it's really intense. There's a lot of unkind people, there's a lot of lost people. Very overwhelming. Like, I came from the higher realms, so this is like intense for me. So, after having that, I experienced being in the center of the universe, of where this light being, she had this like flowing light energy, said, you chose to do this and you can continue your mission, of which it is very needed on Earth, or you can abort your mission. But remember, you chose this. And of course, I pondered on that experience and spoke to the Council of Angels and was like, I will continue on with my mission. And I understand that, it would be selfish of me not to do so, because I have helped thousands of people to ascend and to heal. The other night I was thinking maybe I've helped probably over 10,000 people, because I have so many clients and they're all happy and healthy. And now, speaking to ETs and channeling energy, the cosmic energy through them to the oceans and to the skies, that will transmute the dense energies of pollution and heal it. We can heal everything via energy. So, I'm starting to see it really grow, and I'm excited about that. And I'm at a point here in life where this is what I saw years ago. They said, just to continue on, you're going to go through all these tests. Once you prove that you are, once you overcome these tests and prove that your heart is what you hold above all, and then you can go ahead and you will have a bigger audience. And I really see that happen. And as you said,
That's fantastic. And I just say for my listeners out there, Guys Radio, we have all different types of guests, and Sarah's very special. And I ask for people who are not aware of her and are listening to some of this stuff and will be saying like, oh, wow, or what? You lived on Mars? Just bear with us. Just open your heart, open your mind, and I think we'll all together learn something, because every time I've been around Sarah, every time I've chatted with her, every time I read her posts on social media, I learn something. And it's really interesting, and it's very helpful. And then you have to decide out there, listeners, if you want to use that. If you want to use that, if you want to open your heart. That's all we can do, is bring you the information and share. So thank you for this, Sarah. I think a topic that a lot of folks want to learn more about is, it's so much in the news, is with UFOs and aliens, and you are right out front about having communication with many different types of entities, and say that there are over 200 here on Earth, and you speak very openly about that. What do people out there, my listeners, need to know about these entities that are not from Earth but are on Earth?
So a lot of them are coming through to try to help to charge the oceans with more energy, because our planet, we see everything as 3D physical objects, but 3D physical object is created through condensed energy. When energy is condensed, it creates a 3D physical object right there. So that's how 3D physical objects are created. We are all energy. Everything is energy, and these beings are energetic, and they pass through the dimensions, through the realms, and they, for our oceans to be alive, for the animals in them to be alive, for us to be alive, we have to have energy. And through pollution, what we're doing is we're ruining our bodies, we're ruining our oceans, our skies, which is bringing it down in energy. It's blocking the flow of the cosmic energies that flow through the stars, through the sun, off from it, which is killing it. So the ocean collects the energy from the sun, the moon, the stars, and charges itself that way, and it stays alive that way. Without energy, it would be dead. Of course, the pollution is stopping this. So, people, I know a lot of people, they're caught in their 3D belief system and they think they're just this physical body and, oh, hey, there might be some supernatural stuff. But there needs to be an awakening to the realm of spirits and how energy works. And it's really vital and important for this planet right now, which is suffering. This planet is breaking down on every level because of the pollution and the dense energies. And people need to start waking up to this and understanding that, you know, creating devices to heal the ocean, hey, that's great, but we actually have all this power to channel through us of the divine to, like Christ did, to speak to the oceans and speak to the skies and tell them to heal, and they will listen. And in fact, you know, living here in Sedona, I'm I've spoken to a lot of Native Americans, and of course I am part Native American. I have Blackfoot Indian within me in my ancestry, and the thing is they would speak to the skies, and if they needed rain, they would do a rain dance and speak to the skies and it would rain. They knew this. They had these ancient rituals where they knew they had this power within them, and they tapped into it and used it. It was something normal. And we have alienated ourselves from our souls. We have alienated ourselves from the true God, which is a force that flows through everything. And what we have done by doing so is we've created our bodies, you know, when our bodies don't have enough energy flowing through them, they age, they're in pain. We have negative thoughts, we're depressed, we're sad. It's proven fact that if you charge your body with energy via looking at the sun, you're going to start to look better. If you do sun, you're going to start to feel better, look better, and be healthier if you sun gaze. So yes, that's because the energy is coming into your body and it's recharging your body. And a lot of people walking around on this planet, they aren't open to new ideas because the brain actually only lights up when more energy's flowing through it. And they have this physical understanding from school and from, you know, just what they've been taught, that, hey, part of the brain shut down, and the different parts of your body are completely fully functioning. These parts light up when we channel energy. And of course, God, which isn't a man sitting in heaven, it's the source of energy that's everywhere. God flows through everything, and we can tap into that. And of course, our soul is God, and our soul does get depleted when we have trauma, when we have any sort of health issue. Our energy field gets depleted, and so then we start to function in a lower frequency and in a lower state of being. It's important to recharge ourselves. It's important to actually start connecting to the realm of the spirits. You know, the mountains are spirits. Everything is spirits. The oceans are spirits. Even the sun, the moon, the planets, they're all ancient spirits. And we are ancient spirits in bodies, and we have forgotten this. And so it's important that we remember this and we connect to the realm of spirits. And I know a lot of people, this is hard for them to understand, but I do believe there's a great awakening happening right now, where more and more people will start waking up to this and understand how the divine works and how they can channel these energies into themselves to bring up their consciousness. And also, you know, when we channel a lot of energy to ourselves, different parts of our brain light up, literally. Our DNA lights up more. Our whole entire system lights up more. And then we start to see from up here rather than down here. So when we're in lower energy, we're seeing down here. And of course, everything in society depletes you. When we're in higher energy, we're seeing from up here, which is a much higher level of knowing and seeing and wholeness.
Okay. Guys Radio, my special guest, Sarah R. Adams. We're talking about energy. So in Sedona, you had mentioned in some of your postings that there's some energy portals there. It's a very kind of sacred space. And I think people have known that for a long time. But how does that work for our listeners out there? What is a portal? How are portals being used on the planet? And what can the individual do to help raise their own consciousness and work with energy to make the world a better place and to help heal it?
Juicing, healthy diets, going out in nature, doing good deeds. Believe it or not, every time we do a good deed, the universe, which is God, the cosmic energies, acknowledge this and start to give us energy for doing those good deeds. There's a lot of things that you can do, you know, prayer, meditation, just visualizing golden light pouring into you, visualizing rainbow light pouring into you. These are a few of the methods that I use and that I teach my clients. They're very effective. And yes, there are vortexes of energy. So, you know, here in Sedona, like you stated, there are many vortexes. So sometimes I go and I sit on those vortexes and meditate or lay there and speak to the spirits. And those vortexes are complete they're completely open gates to the realms of the spirits. And just recently, I was, last night I was with one of the circles in Sedona, and with the elders, and I was speaking about this, how the ETs and the different hosts of the realms, they have come together because all these different councils come together to speak to me. They came together and they spoke to me and said, we need to open more light portals, and we can do this with our minds and be a channeling energy. We can open light portals around the world. The planet is depleted, and so many people are depleted, and we need to close the portals that are going to the lower realms that are sucking energy from the planet, because there are lower and higher realms. So this is something that I was told recently.
And so for the individuals, basically live a clean life, think positive thoughts, don't litter, things like that. But just as the day-to-day things, good deeds to other people, treat other people well, the golden rule. What are the different types of how long have the ETs been here? Millions of years, billions of years, thousands of years, and what is their purpose? From what I've read about you, Sarah, you've mentioned that this was kind of a really cool planet to come to for the ETs, based on position and just how fruitful it is. Yet recently, a lot of ETs don't want to be here because the energies are so low that they kind of can't vibe with it and they can't get out. So talk to us a little bit about that and the ETs that are around, and if a lot of people say, yeah, bring it on now. People want to see ETs and meet with them. And I'd love to interview one on the show. So what do people need to know about that? And how can you ask for some type of contact while protecting yourself?
So interestingly enough, the body is ancient divine tech, and it was created to hold the soul, which is God. And so when you unite the soul energy with this divine tech and light it up, so you channel in this soul energy into the cells, the organs, and all parts of your body, you start to light up. You're one with your physical body, the two become one. And then what you can do is you can visualize your DNA lighting up. And there's a great story in the Bible of what Jacob's ladder. So he climbs the ladder. The ladder is symbolic for DNA. When you channel energy to your DNA, it lights up and it brings you up into higher frequencies of where the angels and the ETs are. So right now there's a divide. There's humanity, this lower frequency, and there's the angels and ETs and different beings up here. And the only way to reach them is to bring your energy up. So this is the way. Go ahead.
Is that the same with angels and ETs kind of get intermixed sometimes in conversation now, where I was taught if you want to really connect with your higher self and also higher entities and your angels and guides and your keeper of the threshold, etc., you need to raise your vibration because they have to come down and you have to come up. And it sounds like that's the same process as with the entities of the ETs. Is that so?
Yes. So there are angels, there are fairies, there are lots of different beings. So supernatural beings and ETs. So they're all different, by the way. And you can only reach them by lighting your entire system up. The reason that a lot of people around the planet aren't seeing ETs and angels and things like that, supernatural things, is because, as stated, their energy's down here and they have to learn how to bring their energy up. So when you bring your energy up, you actually access the realms. And I go up to 22D plus, so the 22nd dimension. So when you get to the 22nd dimension, you're basically in God consciousness, and then you can just, I get experiences where I'm looking over the entire planet, over the oceans, or I'm the whole universe, or I'm whole planet. So those are the experiences that I get when I'm in 22D. So I teach my clients to go up there, and it's quite effective because when you go up there, that energy also heals their bodies a lot, and it regenerates them, and it lights up their entire system so that they start to become more multidimensional. This is something that I live every single day. I wake up in the morning, I speak to different beings, all throughout the day I'm speaking to different beings, and it's something that I really, really love doing. And I can't imagine, the other day I was thinking, I'm like, wow, people are so disconnected. It must be a very lonely and boring life that they're disconnected from all the different realms and all the creation there is out there. And it's kind of sad to me because it's like, I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't live like this and if I wasn't living like this. But yes, there are many different ways to bring your energy up. The I like putting all the different health, diet, you know, potions. I do herbs, doing the different, bringing in the cosmic light. I like bringing all these and do it together and doing them all together and using that to kind of just ascend into higher energies. And originally too, everyone isn't human. This is the human body, but a lot of people have come from, their souls come from other realms, from other dimensions, from other planets, even other universes. And they have had ET incarnations, and then they decided to have a human incarnation. And after this human incarnation, they might choose to have other human incarnations, or they might choose to go back to their realms where they came from, or have incarnations as ETs or other beings. So, you know, we need to start seeing ourselves as more than just this one incarnation, because we're much more than that. Of course, above that, we're God, because we're energy. We're all God. So we're God taking on these different bodies, having these experiences in these different realms, and even on this planet. So that's what we're doing. Otherwise, it would be quite boring if we weren't we weren't going around and traveling and having adventures. So that's why a lot we play out these things in these realms and on this planet.
So, what are the ETs? How long have they been here, and how many different types of them are there, and what do they want?
So the councils that I consult with want the enlightenment of humanity. They want humanity to understand that they are powerful and they're God and are Christ. Every one of us is our own Christ, and only we can save ourselves, and only we can all together can shift this planet. This is a lot of the things that they express to me, and they also are very expressive of the fact that, you know, they will intervene at certain points if the planet is going really downhill, but they try not to intervene on a large scale, because otherwise we would, if they came and they rescued us, we would keep doing, you know, stuff that puts us in peril, and also that is dangerous to ourselves and others, and we would just expect to be rescued, and we wouldn't ascend into our God selves. So they have they flow according to the law of the divine, and they only interact when there's going to be major cataclysms or things like that. But otherwise, they attempt to stay out of a lot of the things going on the planet, and hope that, well, they have faith that humanity will wake up to their divine God power and step into that, and then of course reascend into the stars. What I mean by reascending into the stars, I mean by bringing in that energy of where we can access all the different realms and access all the different beings of all the hosts of heaven, the ETs, and access everything. And that's what they want for humanity. But they have unconditional patience. So they're just kind of watching while we stumble along, you know, until we get there.
So it sounds like, Sarah, that overall, the majority of them have positive intentions. Are there lower entity ETs that have negative intentions for the planet and for humans or humanity as a whole?
And into those, I don't run into any of those types of beings, but I also believe I'm in such a frequency where those beings don't come to me. What we have mostly a problem with, the biggest issue, is that people have unhealed karma from this lifetime, past lifetimes, or ancestral karma, or their body's toxic, which is drawing negative entities from the lower realms to them. But these negative entities come and they magnify what's already in you, and they kind of push you to a dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul is really, really a great time to look within yourself and see what you need to heal, what you need to change, and what you need to do to heal your body, heal yourself, heal your life. So for me, in a way, it's kind of a positive effect in the end, because the magnifying what we already have in ourselves it's really just helping us see more clearly what we need to work on and where we need to heal. So most of humanity, the issues they're having, like I say, is with lower entities, but they've attracted that to them via, you know, their deeds, via different things. And those entities will willingly leave once we do the work and clear those energies from our bodies, those toxins from our bodies, clear that ancestral karma that's pulling us down. Because if you've had ancestors, and everyone has them, that have went through war and pain and suffering, they're walking around the earth and they're still bound here because a soul needs light to be given to it so it can ascend, especially a soul that's lost its light during a physical incarnation, and that does happen. So, and this is why in ancient times the priests and priestesses they would send light to those who had passed, and then the souls who had passed would take that light, charge themselves, and ascend into the higher realms, because of course to go to higher realms you need a charge of energy. So we have a lot of disembodied souls walking around this planet of our ancestors that are stuck here. They don't have enough energy to ascend. So basically, they're sucking light from their us now that are 3D incarnated in physical bodies. So we have to go back. We have to clear all of that out. We have to clear all of the suppression, the war, the murder, all of that out. Send the light back, channel light through us back to them, so that they can pass. And then, that gets rid of a lot of negative entities that were attached to them and drawn to them because of their pain and suffering too. That's affecting us. So there's ways to actually just clear ourselves and get rid of anything negative, because of course we're God, so we can do anything. We're Christ. And this is what Christ said, you shall.
Okay. Guys Radio, your host Robert Manni, my special guest Sarah R. Adams. So you can go to the 22nd dimension, and most people have trouble just falling asleep at night. So for those, we supposedly all have a keeper of the threshold, kind of our guardian angel, and a team that works with us throughout life. How is that true? Number one, do you work with yours, and how can everyday folks work with their keeper of the threshold or guardian angel? And the keeper of the threshold is supposed to kind of bring in things to help us and kind of keep out things that may harm us. I take a spiritual Enfoldment class, and this is something, it's part of spirituality that I think is true. But what's been your experience with that, and what's your thoughts on that?
We all have come to Earth and in 3D bodies with the host of the realm standing behind us and supporting us. The thing is when we do deeds that are, not great for ourselves and for others, what happens is that we kind of open ourselves up to things. So we do have guardians that will, they'll extensively keep negative entities out. But once we keep doing the same thing that's wrong or bad, then eventually they have to step back and say, okay, you've got to learn your lesson here so that you become a better person. And yeah, a lot of people aren't connecting to their angels and their guides and to their guardians because of the fact that they don't have the energy to actually light themselves up to interact with these beings. So it all goes back to that. We have to do the work. As much as they're helping us, we have to do the work for ourselves too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you mentioned in a post the other day about, speaking of ETs, you were speaking with a reptilian, and people hear reptilian, they've heard of that, and they're like, oh no, these reptiles, and they're part of the shadow government, and they're going to eat us and all of this. Yet you were having a very positive exchange, and it sounded like that they're not really negative, but they have to get energy, and there's different ways of getting energy, and if energy is blocked, they need help having portals opened up so they can have energy, because that's what they consume. But it didn't seem like the intention was negative.
No, so when I was a little child, I had an experience with a reptilian chieftain. Because I have the rainbow aura, I was in France when this happened. I was sitting down like now, and all this light was coming out of me, and suddenly these reptilians appeared. If I remember right, there were 3 of them, and they had these objects of jewels on them and stuff. And then they kind of just circled around me, and then they said, those who have ascended into God consciousness, we respect and honor. We will not hurt, and we are hoping to ascend back into God consciousness too, and also, access the light again. So I've had a lot of beings come to me that were fallen from the light that have just asked to go back to the light, and I've helped them on that. So this is something that's quite common for me. But with the reptilians, the reptilian chieftain the other day, we all, first of all, we eat food because of what keeps us alive is the nutrients, which are actually energy. The food is energy. So right. Even we need energy to survive, and so everything needs to survive. So they were telling me how, since the earth is blocked off a lot from the higher realms, they're not usually there were portals of energy opened where they would feed off of and recharge, and the divine allows them to have this energy, and they're not getting it, so they're kind of in starvation mode. And they were telling me that everything on the planet is kind of being vampiric in a way. People are, they're vamping energy off their children, they're vamping energy off their partners, their friends. So this is a thing that's happening on a planetarial level, wide scale, massively. They were telling me this, and that they also just want peace. Of course, they asked, if we could, and this was the channeling, the message that they told me to me, because they appeared and they came, and they're always very, very noble and good to me, and they don't try anything negative, and I've had only good experiences with them. I believe when we come from God consciousness, that happens. Like the darkest being is like it affects it in a positive way. So they were like, okay, portals need to be open to regenerate and heal humanity, heal the earth, and also to heal us and help us reascend, because we have fallen from the light. So it was a really positive interaction, and I think it's a solution rather than saying, okay, we need to kill or destroy certain beings, or, everybody's done terrible things. People have done terrible things to each other. Different beings have done this. So for me, I always try to keep that open heart of, hey, if you want to change and become better and shift this, I completely accept that. And I embrace that with unconditional love. And, I will help you if needed. So,
you mentioned something very interesting in that you said the portals need to be opened again. So what's happened around the planet in terms of portals for energy and white light, if you will, being closed?
This is a very controversial topic, because I believe a lot of the governments around the world have delved into occult magic. They have opened portals to lower realms, even with CERN. CERN opens the portals that were very dangerous portals to open. Of course, I was requested to go help close those portals. The ETs intervened to close those portals, and different beings. I think that the government has access to a lot of technology that it's using and doesn't even fathom or know what it's doing on a vibrational frequency level, or in the realm of spirits. And so what they're doing is they're opening portals that are sucking energy, rather than portals that are to the higher realms that would actually fill the planet with energy. So this is one of the problems that we're having right now. And so in all the chemtrails, by the way, the chemtrails reflect light out of off the planet. So the metals in them reflect the light off the planet. So this is keeping the light from coming through. So we have a lot of different things going on that's keeping the light from flowing through the planet. And of course, like I said, the portals that have been opened by this technology that's actually very primitive, next to the technology of the divine and the energy technology we have within ourselves. So this is something that's happening. So originally there were priests and priestesses that traveled among the planets, and they kept these portals open, and they kept the portals all monitored, made sure that they were flowing, made sure that all beings, because when there was this Mars was inhabited, Venus, all the planets, there were beings that they traveled in and out of the realms, and they traveled among the planets. And of course, there was a group of priests and priestesses that kept the higher portals open. So this is not happening anymore. And we've had a lot of negative lower portals opened, and the higher portals, via the pollution, via different things, have been cut off. So we have less energy coming in, and we have way more of an energy pool coming from these lower portals that absorb light, almost like a black hole.
Okay. It's interesting where on one hand the energy and the pollution of the planets is way down. On the other hand, you have these everyday people moving up, ascending, and more awareness of how to work with energy, and the God that's inside all of us, and God kind of now being known to experience itself through us, and the fact that everything is energy and people have a lot more power than they have. And then also I've read and watched that now Earth was kind of at the kids table for a while, and now it's being brought up by this intergalactic council to have a seat there. Yet with all the bad stuff going on, why are we getting a seat at the adult table now, the planet?
It's all about ascension and growth and evolution. It's time for the world to evolve. It's time for them to evolve back to actually almost to return to the ancient ways of being connected to their spirit and God and talking to the earth. I go out and I talk to the earth and I talk to the rocks and the plants and the trees, and I can hear them and feel them. So I'm connected to everything. And this is something that humanity needs to wake up to. They're far more than these bodies. There's so much more out there, and it's incredible and amazing. And they're really missing out right now. And the day that they actually start really waking up on a mass level to that, I'm going to be so excited. It's going to be the best day of my life. And it's going to be why I've come into this incarnation on this planet, because I just wanted to see people wake up to this. They're suffering and they're sad and they're lost. Imagine waking up to all this power within yourself, and you can make your own reality. You can heal yourself. You can wake up with a smile of a child and feel free of all of the trauma you've been through, because you can tell your body and your system to delete that. For me, this is going to be amazing for humanity, and they're definitely stepping into it. It's happening. A lot of people are waking up.
Good. Okay, Sarah R. Adams, my special guest on Guys Radio. So you've done some time travel. You've seen the future. You've seen the past. I guess you've seen different timelines. What do you see coming up in the next 5 years or so for the planet?
We're awakening. There was one timeline where we were going to go to a world war, but that was that at the last minute, the host of the realms, the ET, stepped in, shifted that timeline, and boom, we're good now. So we've got things to get through. We've got to get through the fair. We've got to get through a lot of this negativity on this planet, a lot of these false belief systems that make us just suppress us and hurt us and harm us and drain us of our soul energy. But of course, there's a lot of awakened people out there now more than ever, and they're going to really just step it up, and the divine stands with them, flows through them, and is going to support them in this journey. And I was told that I was told there's major support now happening from this year on for all those who are truly being authentic, truly doing the work, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow. So I only see positive timelines. Of course, for me too, we have the whole thing with COVID, but we need to understand how disease works, because disease is lower frequencies, and we can clear those from the body via some different techniques. So this is all an awakening for humanity. The pressure on it that we have right now, it's needed. Otherwise, nobody would wake up.
Right. How can the individual, you mentioned karmic debt and things like that. So can people make a command and say, I release all karmic debt does not tie in with my chosen timeline and my current frequency? Can you change your release those debts that way, the karmic debts, number one? And can an individual shift their timeline so they have different outcomes? Like how do our listeners do that?
So you have to shift a timeline. You have to be full of energy. Otherwise, too many people out there that had no energy would just be shifting into negative timelines with every negative thought. So what I do is I fill myself with energy. I light my entire system up, and then I visualize the timeline I want to step into, whether it's more spirituality, more health, more wealth, and that's how I do it. So you can do that for yourself at home, and this works efficiently well. So you just need a charge of energy. If you're saying something, I recently did my research on what was that book? It's called The Secret. Mm-hmm. So The Secret tells you about just saying things or thinking things, but if you don't have the charge of energy, it's not going to manifest. You have to have the charge of energy within you to manifest anything and shift anything. So it's all about the energy and charging yourself with energy. So that's where you can create from. That's where you're in your creator self, because energy is God, energy is creator consciousness, and that's what you need to create. And then, of course, I'm hoping to see in the future that groups get together where they all channel in that God consciousness energy, and they start to visualize positive timelines for the earth. I think that this is going to be world shifting, and this is something that we're going to step into in the future.
A lot of people say that the oceans need to clean up. That's the biggest part of the planet, and they're going to clean up first, but that might be to shift in some of the geography. Do you see any type of, like California falling into the sea or any of this stuff happening in the near future?
I think there's a lot of fear and paranoia out there, and sure, of course, the cataclysm. By the way, originally when the Earth had enough energy, there were no storms, there were no tsunamis, there were no deserts. Everything was vibrant. When the planet is up here in energy, everything grows. There is no chaotic energies which create tsunamis and all those things. Tsunamis and all those things are created from the karmic buildup of us and our deeds and actions that create dense energies that then disturb the natural flow of energy on this planet. That's what's creating this. So for me, I'm not worried about huge cataclysms because of the fact that I believe that in the near future, these groups, like I said, will get together and they can go ahead and clear the energies from like California or New York, and that will prevent the cataclysms from happening, because those cataclysms are attracted to that area because of all the chaotic, dense energies from the karma of the grand population, the large population that's living there.
How about energy? Do you see a time where we'll make a shift from fossil fuels and all of that, and there will be a sharing of energy and resources? I mean, the whole system is going to, a lot of people say, oh, everything's going to change and well, everybody's going to be farming again and all of this. But, you know, a lot of people live in urban centers. And how is the change going to happen over the next decade for how we live on this planet? Assuming that there is an ascension going on and a cleaning up. What does that look like?
So what you're going to see is you're going to see people waking up. You're going to see some just choose not to wake up, and they will, you know, their bodies will start giving out and things like that. So you're going to also see a lot of people who just are like, I'm not going to wake up. So they're, because they're so stuck in the system, but you're going to see a lot of people waking up. So there's definitely going to, but it's going to spread. The awakening is going to kind of spread because the more light that each person holds, when you just walk by a person who's unawakened, that energy, that light affects them. It lights their entire system up. So it's kind of like, you know, there's a verse in the Bible that says that Christ will return as a thief in the night. So it's like saying that, you know, the night for me does not mean physical, literal night. It means when humanity's in the dark night of the soul, and they finally start to realize that they've had God all along within themselves. They've been God, and that they are more powerful than all of this. And they clear their karma, and they show remorse for their bad deeds, and they start to step into their God consciousness energy. And then that energy starts flowing through them to each person, and it flows all around the world to each person and awakens every single person.
Okay, amazing. Sarah R. Adams, my special guest on Guys Radio. I love having you here. I'd like to have you back when I know your schedule is busy. We can talk about some healthy protocols that people can do to help them raise their vibration. Actually, the specifics, so people can do it step by step. Because I've got a whole list. I do rebounding, I'm juicing, I'm dowsing, I'm meditating. I don't touch the phone until, you know, I do all my other stuff. I'm doing my Dan Millman's Peaceful Warrior workout. I'm doing push-ups. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And you know what? You do it consistently. You do these protocols, and you eat clean. And I stopped, no alcohol. It makes a difference. It takes a couple of months, but it really makes a difference. And I can feel myself now when I meditate, boom, I go right down, and it's really nice. And then I go right out there, and it's fantastic. So thank you so much for being on Guys Radio. I love having you here. You're such a wonderful energy and a wonderful person. So really appreciate it. Anything else you want everybody out in the audience to know, where they can find more about you? Any special message, Sarah?
Yes, so you can find more out about me on my website at www.sarahradams.com, and that's Sarah with an H, because I know sometimes people forget that. You know, I'm wishing healing and love and goodness and many blessings to everyone, always and eternally. Thank you for having me on. I always enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Really, really a pleasure. Guys Radio, Sarah R. Adams. Check her out. She's all over social media, and you'll love what you read.